Patty Mills is frequently approached by one of his lifelong admirers at one of the camps he runs for his kids in his home Australia, with the request, "Can you dunk for me?" It would be a piece of cake for most NBA players. He'd be clear away, take his time, and then drive the ball past the rim with authority. He'd land, and his admirers would rejoice because they just witnessed something incredible. Unfathomable is also an appropriate phrase for it, because there's a flaw in this scenario. Patty Mills does not dunk. Dunking, he says, isn't even an afterthought among all the options when he has the ball. I'd like to say it's near the bottom, to be honest. It's probably not even on the list. That's a little bit of a deflating moment when I'm like, oh, I don't think I can get there right now. However, I'll keep working on it. Mills is one of a small group of players who have had excellent NBA careers but have never jammed one for one reason or another. Since the 1996-97 season, all of the statistics are available from basketballreference.com, and he had 1,801 different plays combined for 210,842 regular season dunks, with 1,259 of those 1,367 players, or 92%, dunking at least once, unlike Patty Mills. That leaves 108 steady contributors over 25 seasons without even a delicate two-handed slam, 11 of whom are currently playing. This list includes MVPs like Steve Nash, as well as competent veterans like JJ Redick, TJ McConnell, and journeymen like Troy Daniels. Others such as Fred VanVleet, Ricky Rubio, and DJ Augustin have been in the league long enough to become fixtures. Members of this earthbound organization are divided into groups, those who are vertically challenged and those who are ordered to stay out of the paint. Mills, who is now in his 12th season and ranks 4th among active players in terms of most games played without a dunk, is a member of both contingents and has resigned himself to a career without one. It's a huge part of the game, and what engages fans and makes basketball basketball. Mills adds, "I haven't tried putting a ball, slam dunking it through a hoop in a long time. I feel like the longer I wait, the less of a chance I have." When Steve Novak received the call, he was at a loss on what to do. Early in 2012, the height of Linsanity in New York City, and his agent received word that the NBA wanted him to compete in the dunk contest. At the time, Jeremy Lin was sleeping on teammate Laundry Fields' couch, and the goal, according to Novak, was for Fields to dunk over a futon-bound Lin. When Fields was forced to withdraw due to injury, J.R. Smith was called to fill it in. When Smith backed out due to a sprained ankle, the offer was extended to the next player on the list. The NBA was eager to capitalize on the excitement generated by Linsanity and adding Novak, who had never dunked in his 5 seasons as a professional, just another wrinkle in the theatrics. The cash incentive, $20,000 for merely just participation, wasn't trivial for a role player with a few million in career earnings, and the potential attention could have done wonders to the Knicks forward. He had been pleading with the league to allow him to participate in the three-point shootout, but they preferred Kevin Durant. No player as tall as Novak has appeared in many games without dunking, and he wasn't about to become a meme over All-Star Weekend. In principle, dunking is what differentiates those blessed by basketball gods from the rest of us. The average person can do 10,000 jumps every week and eventually develop a good stroke. And all it takes is to become a strong defender on your weekend run and willingness to pay attention to your opponent and play hard. Most people, however, could elevate their bodies toward the rafters from now until the day they die and never become even close to dunking. Novak is quick to clear the air. He can dunk. At one point, he was even able to. If you know where to look, you can find evidence on the internet. Snatches of flashier jams from college and ordinary slams from practice and pregame. He recalls his first in-game dunk. He was in 8th grade and towered over his peers at a staggering 6'5". A coach approached Novak in an incentive after seeing him throw down in practice. And if the big friendly giant could dunk in a game, he'd get a $20 gift card to a local ice cream shop. If I hadn't had motivation before, Novak recalls, I'm like, this has to happen. The slam was a one-handed effort off of a fast break steal. It was, in his words, vicious. What could have been realized at the time was that it would be his last dunk. In a league that idolizes the Grand Slam, Novak's story is surprisingly frequent. Mills, McConnell, and Daniels are among many players who recall dunking on lowered rims in driveways and backyards as a kid, imitating the high flyers they saw on TV. Dunking was one of the aspects of the game that drew them in. It just never occurred to the professionals for them. As with Novak, video evidence of Mills dunking does exist, and it's not limited to his early career. Mills received an alley-oop with one hand before a home game against the Cavaliers in March of 2017, shouting to TNT's microphones, "Aw man, I should have saved it for the game." A short YouTube search yields recordings of McConnell winning the 76ers preseason dunk contest, which he claims was compelled to enter. And in 2016, when Daniels was getting the play of the game honors during a stint with the then D-League Rio Grande Valley Vipers in 2014 for a two-handed slam off a cut. So why haven't any of them dunked in an NBA game? Non-dunkers, for starters, are on the floor to do other things. Similarly to Novak, who hit 43% from his three-point shots, Mills 39.1%, and Daniels 39.5%, are also capable of three-point shooting, and McConnell has a knack for deft passes. The benefits of spotting up or finding an open teammate outweigh the appeal of a sensational dunk. Fear is another option. Novak recalls 2 genuine opportunities to record his first NBA dunk. The first occurred early in his Clippers career when he came up with a flat tire and resorted to a finger roll. The other occurred when he was alone on a fast break for the Knicks against the Bucks. He braced himself and determined that this was his moment. It just took a little too long getting to the rim, and Larry Sanders, who was on the Bucks at the time, was trailing me like a bat out of hell, Novak explains, and it kind of scared me, so I rushed it. And instead of taking my time, I just finger rolled that one in too. The prospect of being embarrassed at the rim weighs on McConnell, who is now with the Pacers. Being only 6'1", there's a lot of players who look like rim protectors to me. If I see anyone within striking distance, no matter who it is, I'm not going to even attempt to dunk. In addition, dipping poses health dangers. Daniels, who's presently unsigned after 7 seasons with 7 different teams, claims that despite being 6'4" and possessing average jumping ability, the increased risk of getting harmed on a slam is what drives him to do layups. His career would have been jeopardized if he lands awkwardly and twists on his ankle. When I work out, I rarely dunk, Daniels admits. Trying to shoot or layup or floater has become second nature to me. Guys in the NBA who are obviously much bigger and stronger, their chances of getting to dunk are a little bit more, but mine are little to none. And my chances of getting wounded are still quite high. I don't want to try anything I'm not comfortable with and wind up injuring myself. Coaches no longer advise Novak that taking three-pointers instead of fighting inside is settling. Even in this group, however, Novak is an outlier. In his 11-year career, he's not only never tried to dunk, but he's also only has 16 layups. He was stretch 4 before most stretch 4s were properly deployed, and he attempted 78% of his career field goals from beyond the arc. Coaches couldn't get him to open up at first. He was a gigantic forward who didn't like pounding at the paint and was unlikely to ever become a glass eater. Things didn't start to connect until Rick Adelman was appointed to coach and the Rockets before Novak's second season. Later, when he played for Mike D'Antoni in New York, his shooting skills were an important part of the Knicks' offense. He'd come up to me and say, "Hey Steve, I know the guy you're guarding might be able to score on you. That's all right with me. I'm not going to be okay if he scores more than you," Novak adds. And he's like, "That makes a lot of sense to me. We're good out here and I make 3s and he makes 2. Because some players like to play below the rim, that doesn't mean that they don't marvel when teammates or opponents leap above it. McConnell recalls being stunned when watching former 76ers teammate Richaun Holmes and Nerlens Noel compete in Philadelphia. Vince Carter and Derrick Jones Jr., who won the 2020 dunk contest, despite having calves that Daniels describes as looking like pencils, are among Daniels' favorites. Mills has also played with a lot of high flyers, but he respects dunkers of all kinds. Manu Ginobili and a few Spurs colleagues arranged a competition late in Manu Ginobili's career. Ginobili, Boris Diaw, and Tiago Splitter competed each year to see who could finish the year with the most dunks. Mills made a point of participating in the friendly wager after learning about it. "I was never going to get one," Mills says, "but I ended up being the referee and deciding what qualifies as a dunk for the other guys. It was near the end of their careers for all 3 of them. A dunk at any stage was a major dunk for them." Splitter, who stood at 6'11" and weighed 245 pounds during his career, won every year, but Diaw and Ginobili took the lead at various periods throughout each season. Mills and his goose egg were the only certainties. His many layups were a long cry from his first dunk as a youngster, when he posterized an opponent so fiercely that he remained stunned while his cousin, a teammate, screamed and swarmed around him. Even back then, it felt like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Nonetheless, he doesn't feel he's missed out on a ton of anything, save perhaps some street cred among his younger supporters. McConnell hasn't ruled out the possibility of dunking before retiring, but he doesn't appear to believe it's realistic. He'd rather be on the other side of an alley-oop pass. Perhaps once before, in the end of my career, I'll get a fast break. I'll get Miles Turner to lift me up and dunk. When I'm 33 or 34, you know. It would have been a no one crosses half court and no effort from the opposite team if the type of situation would be that I could possibly do something. Novak, for one, had no regrets about completing his career without a dunk or declining the invitation to a dunk contest. Every year, he watches and laughs at the prospects of having been asking to participate. "I believe I made the right choice," Novak said. "I would have had to find another way to get the 9-foot hoop and the mini couch." Well guys, thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. Be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring that notification bell so you never miss a video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.